Gotta give it up for Coach. Big shout out to the coaches. You see, my coach, he believed in me since jump.
And welcome to Tough Talk with Coach P. I, of course, am your man, Coach P, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. Today, we have an amazing episode in store. But first, let's do a recap of our last episode where we had the incomparable Keefe of the OG Ducks now on the show. We talked a lot about the past, about how they revolutionized youth football in terms of the look, the style, some of the things that they did. A lot of youth football organizations are doing right now, and they are the ones that you should thank for that. So all that fly uniforms and all that other good stuff that you guys see out there traveling from state to state, playing the best youth football teams from all over the nation. Yeah, it started with my man Keefe and the Ducks. So I definitely encourage you to go back and listen to that. And as usual, if you want to listen to any episode, just subscribe to our Spotify channel. It is Tough Talk with Coach P on Spotify. Tough Talk with Coach P. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at Coach P Tough Talk. That again is at Coach P Tough Talk, and that is on every social media platform. So you guys are in store for a great show today. We've got the great Stephen Cooper. A lot of you guys know him as a San Diego Charger. Now they're the LA Chargers. But we know him here in San Diego as a great coach, and he is now the head coach at San Diego High School. But we're going to take it back. We're going to talk a little bit about youth football. We're going to talk a little bit about coaches here. But these are things that coaches can take advantage of no matter where you are in the nation. This is good stuff. You are listening to Tough Talk with Coach P. I'll be back with Coach Coop on the other side of this commercial break.
The Standard is a youth mentorship program empowering young men ages 8 to 14 through athletics, personal growth, and structured guidance. Built on the values of discipline, teamwork, and integrity, The Standard connects sports with life lessons to help participants develop confidence, leadership, and strong character on and off the field.
And welcome back to Tough Talk with Coach P. I, of course, am your man, Coach P. And we have a very special guest on the show today. Man, Coach Stephen Cooper, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, Wham High School, went to the Naval Academy, went to the University of Maine, parlayed that into a 9-year career with the San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers, and is now leading the charge of the next generation as the head coach at San Diego High School. Coach, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you, man? What's going on with you, my brother?
I'm doing good in yourself. Hope everything's good with you over there. Just, living in sunny San Diego, enjoying this heat wave we got, and getting to the water as much as possible to barbecue.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, you guys are really getting into the thickest things. I'm starting to see some interesting things happening over there at San Diego High School. So I'll start there, man. Talk to me about the challenge, the opportunity of being the next head coach at San Diego High School.
Being a head coach at San Diego High School has definitely been something I've been wanting to do since Coach Charles James brought me in as an assistant coach back in 2017. Ended up being a high school coach at Francis Parker, then became a position coach at St. Augustine, and now went back to San Diego High, was a position coach under Coach Reed until taking over this year to where it's always a challenge when you're dealing with kids and families. You got to know how to deal with emotions, got to deal with accountability, structure, and organization. But that's something that I feel like I thrive in, and I'm looking forward to do as a head coach for San Diego High School.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, you've been involved with, particularly here in San Diego, football on every level. Talk about that, just the progression. And I'll say, what are some of the things that coaches are doing right here? And then talk about some of the things that they're doing wrong, and particularly with the youth level, and we'll start there.
Okay, so for myself, I got into youth football in 2012, 2013 for the Balboa Raiders, one of the story programs here in San Diego, been around for a long, long time. Got the opportunity to work with Mr. Smith, God rest his soul, and also Millen Clark and the rest of the board and the rest of the community there in the City Heights area. From there, when COVID happened, I ended up working with a group of gentlemen with Millen Clark, Russell Notaf, Jonathan J.D. Watson, and the artist. We all started the San Diego Bolts here in San Diego when COVID was going on, and kids not being outside and my son being one of those individuals. I wanted my child to be able to socialize and be out there playing the game of football, something that he loved to do. And then a lot of his peers, their families want to do the same thing too. So we created the San Diego Bolts. But overall, at the youth level, for me, in my experience, the number one thing for me is people that don't coach fundamentals. They want to skip steps. They want to get all the glitz and the glam instead of understanding start and stance. When I see a kid not able to get in a 3-point stance, that's a reflection on that coach. Um, when kids can't line up at wide receiver and have the inside foot up, that's on the coach. So whenever people want to point fingers, at the end of the day, that's why I love being a head coach. I want it all to fall on me because it's my duty and my obligation as an adult and as a coach to mentor these kids the right way and not skip steps. So for me at the youth level, the best thing that I've seen is just kids socializing because we grew up, we were outside running around playing tag, playing hoops. These kids don't do that no more. So you got to utilize these rec sports and these youth sports so these kids can socialize and understand how to work with people and socialize and communicate with adults also, and then take coaching and take that mentorship that we're trying to instill in them and try to help them become great young men.
Yeah, Coach, you said it all. You said it all. You are listening to Tough Talk with Coach P. I will be right back on the other end of this commercial break with the great Coach Coop.
We don't chase. We create. They knock. They watch. We keep working. We keep building. We don't look up. Crowds form. We stay seated. Because the real ones find you. You don't gotta go nowhere. Just be true to self. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I had to step away from youth football for a while. COVID actually killed my business. I started the National Sports Report. We were traveling all over the place, doing some good things with sports. And then I ended up getting back into corporate America, ended up getting married. My wife had, at the time, he was 8. So I kind of got pulled back into youth sports, and some of the things that I was seeing, to your point, with that some of these coaches were doing, it really made me want to put my foot on the gas in terms of really setting the record straight, which is the whole reason why I started this podcast, just because of some of the things that I was saying. And it's really
Yes, sir.
piggybacking off of what you were saying, coaches skipping steps. I really want you to talk about, and maybe it has more credibility coming from you as a guy who's played at a high level with the NFL, been through the process. Talk about how important it is for coaches to have systems in place to teach these young men how to play football, and how important it is for them to learn the game.
Yes, it's very important for them to have systems in place because you want to show these kids organization and structure. When you have practice at 5 o'clock, you should be there 10 minutes early. Why? Same thing when you go to high school, when you go to college. So what we're trying to do is prep them for that experience as they get older. So when they do leave their parents' house and they're on their own and they have to be responsible as young adults, they already know, like, playing for Coach Coop, if you're there 5 minutes early, you're on time. If you're there 10 minutes early, you're 5 minutes early. That's just what I learned from people that coached me and Marty Scheinheimer. Now, coaches, in my opinion, in this day and age, they're not willing to ask for help. And that's just us as men. And a lot of people have too much pride and ego to do that, to where I'm an individual, and I don't like using the word I, but because we're in one-on-one right now, you'll hear me say that. I have so much information that I want to give out to kids, other coaches, but a lot of people aren't willing to ask and or might have an issue with me from previous years, whether it was youth football, high school football, and took a lot of things personal instead of understanding this is for the kids. The common denominator in this whole situation as a coach is the kids and putting our best foot forward to help those kids. But I feel like a lot of these adults at the youth level, they want to be in front of the camera. Me. I won this, I won that. It's not about that. It should always be we, us. If you don't hear plural words coming out of a coach's mouth, go the other way. That's not a coach you want to play for. So at the end of the day, coaches got to look in the mirror and got to be willing to put in the time, whether it's watching videos, going to these clinics, asking individuals within their network that have a lot of experience and try to just add to their toolbox, because I might not be really good at the 4-3 defense because I played in the 3-4, even though I know all the defenses. But those are some examples that these coaches need to understand. There's a wide range of information within the game of football, and every individual has strengths and weaknesses. Our job as coaches is to put those kids in successful positions and play to their strengths, and then kind of keep working on those weaknesses so it's not detrimental to the group of the 11 that are on the field. Now, yes, Johnny might not be the fastest kid, but okay, don't run him on a 9 route, run him on intermediate routes, run him on them slants, them hitches, them outs. And because he has good route running skills and he has good hands. But a lot of these individuals don't look at those things when it comes to the individual assessment of their players, and they're just running the system. And then they want to point and get on these kids when it's not their fault because their system's not working for the group that they have.
Right, right. Now, I want to stay there a bit and talk about how important it is, and particularly at the youth level. And you're going to see that I'm going to ask a lot of questions pertaining to youth, because with this show, we want it to be a resource to those guys, because I think at the grassroots level, that's where a young athlete can either gain the love for it, like we did when we were playing youth football, or they can gain a disdain for the sport and never play again, right? Based on some of these guys that they meet, right? So I want to stay there. Talk about how important it is for these coaches to have a quantifiable system on how to evaluate players. A lot of the times you see players playing out of position and they're not able to play free because they're not playing where they're supposed to be. And a lot of these coaches don't really understand how to evaluate talent and put them in the proper position. Speak a little bit to that.
Well, they have to do a lot of off-season stuff or before the preseason begins. A lot of these guys want to have footballs. You don't even need footballs. You don't need a football. All you need is a couple cones, and you get guys changing direction, straight line running, understanding leverage, understanding proper technique, alignment, assignment, technique. I go through that every single day from the age of 8 years old all the way up to high school when I had my kids, when I was coaching youth. So at the end of the day, it goes back to what I said. Don't skip steps. Everybody wants to, like I said, everybody wants to get in a line and throw the ball and route tree and all that stuff. No. What about the snap? What about the 3-point stance? What about understanding alignment, getting much of that ball as a defensive line, the line of scrimmage, understanding your depth as a linebacker, understanding your leverage as a corner, or where do you go to line as a safety? All those things I think a lot of these coaches and youth are getting away from because they don't have rules. A
Right.
lot of these coaches do this. Why you do that? That is not coaching. So if you're a parent or a coach that's in an area of other coaches, just listen to the terminology and the vocabulary that they use when they're coaching. The pointing the finger and the why this, why that, you're asking a kid a question that they don't have the answer to. That's why they made the mistake. So coach
Right.
them up on it and even go show them, because we all learn differently. Some are good at hearing, some are good at seeing, some have to actually do the thing. So for me, I do all three things. I'm going to ask you, what's your job? I'm going to put you on Front Street. Why? You're going to be able to talk in front of people as you get older, whether it's the corporate world, whether it's in class, whatever it is. So you're going to speak up. And then for me as a coach, I find out whether or not what kind of individual you are. You're soft-spoken. You're not confident. Now that's where I have to do a better job of opening you up as an individual to be confident so you can play the game confidently and do what you have to do so the team's successful. So us as individuals and adults, when it comes to this game around these kids, we have to take our time. It's like watering a plant. You got to keep it in the sun. You got to put a certain amount of water, and you got to watch it grow from within. And it takes time. When I started at flag, we did direct snap. Next year, we added the eye. The following year, we went split. The following year, we went spread. So every single year, these kids understood, okay, we're going from a 32 personnel. Now we're going to a 21 personnel. Now we're going to a 20 personnel. Now we're going to a 10 personnel. I bet you any amount of money you ask most youth kids those type of questions. And yes, I might know a little bit more than most, but that's fundamentals. Those are all
Right.
things that these kids are going to learn when they go to high school and or college. And that's one thing that I hold dear to my heart is when a kid does leave me and they go to other places, when they heard they played for Coach Coop and or his staff, they already know what they're getting. All these kids that left my youth program and or my other coaches programs that's gone to these high schools, every single one of them are the top-notch kids at all their high schools, and it's because they listened, but more importantly, their parents supported what we did as coaches, and that's what's going on in youth that's really, really negative. These parents are really volatile, ignorant, disrespectful, and don't understand that we're volunteers. Even the high school coach, they're making a stipend maybe of $1,000 to $2,000 for
Right.
365, where us, we take 1 month off. We start in January for the weight room. So my coaches, that stipend they're getting is their gas money. And in California, you see what the gas mileage is. It's not paying for nothing.
Right.
So these parents need to understand we're coaches, but at the same time, we're babysitting your child and trying to help them grow and to be young individuals and be positive outside of the household that they stay in, because a lot of these kids come from different walks of life, might not have a parent at home, might just be around women, might have some type of negative stuff going on around them where they're safe haven. So we as coaches gotta do a lot for these kids, and it takes away from our own families. But like myself and my house, so my son and my lady knows that this is really, really close to my heart, because I was that child. I was the kid on
Right.
the knee. I was the kid looking up at a coach, wanting better for myself and wanted the most out of the game of football that I could get out of it. And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
For the ones putting in work when no one's watching. From the early risers to the late night ballers. Introducing Youngstar Creatine Gummies. The clean science-backed creatine gummy made for today's athlete. Boost strength, train harder, and recover faster. Youngstar, fueling today's future athlete. Youngstar.
And you know what? I wanted to stay there. I'm glad you transitioned into that part of it, because I'm from Southeast Washington, D.C. I don't know if you've ever been to D.C., but
Yep.
Southeast D.C. in the late 80s and the early 90s was off the hook, right? And for me, football probably saved my life. It got me to college,
Same.
it got me out here. You know what I'm saying? So just like you, I have an affinity for football that transcends a lot of these other guys' thinking, right? I
Yes.
really love the game, and I think that it should be done a certain kind of way, and we should respect it. Furthermore, my coaches, shout out to my dad, my stepdad, who was a great man to me and taught me how to be a man. But a lot of my coaches, Coach Sam T, my high school coach, was probably one of the most influential men in my life. And I want you to talk about how important that is, and really talk to these coaches and let them know sometimes you might be the first example of what a good man is, and how important it is for them to set themselves at a certain standard. And again, I think it might mean a lot coming from you as a guy that's made it to the league. So just talk a little bit about that.
They have to take it seriously, because these kids, like I said, once they leave that field to go home, we don't know what they're going home to. Whether you got to feed the kid, whether you have to clothe the kid, give a kid a ride home, give him some change to jump on the bus or the train. We have to take the position we're in very, very seriously, because you're dealing with individuals that are trying to figure out life. Same
Right.
stuff that we went through as adults. And by being a coach, and it's a blessing to be around these kids, because at the end of the day, when you see them grow up, and I have a lot of them that are 20 some odd years, no, 20 years old now and up, those kids already got careers, and they're responsible. They're taking care of themselves, taking care of their significant others, their siblings, and that's the win within it for a coach. But at the end of the day, same thing. I've had kids that been in jail, kids that are in jail, kids that possibly DUI, stuff like that, to where you're not going to save every kid, but every single day you have the opportunity, you better give 100% effort, like you're asking from that kid, and all the information that you're instilling in them, and or those characteristics that you want to see them have. You better make sure you're giving them everything you got, and don't cheat them out of an experience.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And then, we'll transition just a bit to the parent part of it. And you had mentioned this before, and you and I both have, I had my son was pretty good, right? And your son's very good. Talk about that part of it, because people don't understand. Not only are you a coach, you're a parent too, that really understands both sides of this, right? Talk about how important it is for parents to be patient with the process.
Parent, be a parent. When that kid's going to football practice, basketball, whatever sport it is, that's the time for the coach to be responsible for
Right.
your child during that allotted time that they have. At games, all the hooping and hollering and trying to coach your kid up from the sidelines. Do you even know the play? Do you know the technique? Do you know the call? Do you even know what you're talking about when it comes to whatever sport your child is playing at the youth level? That's where a lot of parents living through their kids, and I call those parents Al Bundys. The parents that can't let go of high school, can't let go of youth. They'll talk all day long about pass, pass, pass. But what about your kid's future? You already,
Right.
it's over. It's behind you. Everything in front of you now is for your kids, in my opinion. But a lot of
Right.
these parents don't understand that, and they're living through their kids, and it's detrimental, and it's taking the fun out of the game for the kids, in my opinion. And then it's kind of deterring them from even wanting to play anymore. So parents just need to sit back and relax. Go talk to the coach after practice. Go talk to the coach after the game or whatever rules your coach has. Have a conversation. Don't go tell your coach what they need to do. Speak and ask questions and find out where they're at and what needs to be done for your child to be in the best position possible, whether it's playing or having more success. Because no coach wants any individual on their team to do bad. Why? It's going to affect the whole team. All this time
Right.
we're putting in, you think we want any child to not reach their goals? It just doesn't make sense to me. So just the attitudes and the experiences that these parents are having today, it's really bad. I just think social media, you see a lot more of it with these fights that are going on, whether it's in
Yeah.
7-on-7 football. Um, it's just getting really, really bad. And that's why there's a shortage of referees, because of these parents. Why would I want to go get paid 100, maybe 75, $60 a game to have somebody yelling at me the whole time and disrespecting me as a grown man? So
Right.
parents need to understand that when they're out there watching their kids, enjoy it, be positive as much as possible. Yeah, there's gonna be some junk talking from time to time, but be respectful when you're doing it. You know what I mean? You don't need to be
Right.
cursing, you don't need to be using the N-word. And treat those how you want to be treated, period.
Yes. I think that's that part, that the last part is the best takeaway. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and I think that'll take you a long way.
You don't just show up, you show out every damn day. This ain't your average energy boost. Young Star Energy Gummies give today's future athletes clean fuel with real results. No jitters, no crash, just straight up energy and faster bounce back. Clinically shown to support energy, muscle recovery, and cellular health. Young Star, stay lit, recover quick, and level up. Young Star.
So I'm gonna transition a bit to your playing career, and your journey. I mean, your journey was different than, well, not different than most, but your journey was one that it was an overcoming story. I believe you were undrafted, correct?
Yes, sir.
Undrafted, landed with the San Diego Chargers, which I'm in the point in my life where I see things a little differently, right? Whatever's happening to me, whether it be good or bad, it's for my own good, right?
Yes,
So I'm
sir.
starting not to resist, right? I'm trapped in traffic. You know what? There's some reason where I don't need to be up there soon, so don't resist. So from that standpoint, being an undrafted guy, when you know that you could play with these guys, talk to me about that mentality. How did you keep yourself sharp when you probably weren't getting the opportunities you thought you should have gotten, but you just had to take advantage of every rep, and you parlayed that into a 9-year stellar career? Talk to me about that.
I'm gonna echo what you just said and taking advantage of every rep. One thing I'm huge on is work. Outwork them. If you're doing 10 gassers, I'm doing 15. If you're doing 4 sets, I'm doing 5. Everything that you hear Kobe Bryant talk about at an elite level, it's all about outworking the next. And for me, I did that at every facet of the game. You would have morning workouts. Then after morning workouts, when everybody was partying or doing whatever, I'm going to the school gym and going to work out with the students for a second workout. You know what I mean? To where, yeah, the road I took to be a free agent was tough, but like I told my agent, I said, just get me into a camp and I'll take care of the rest. I already knew what I'm capable of doing, and it was non-negotiable for me not to be in the NFL because that was my dream, and it was going to be my reality no matter what was in front of me, no matter what.
Man, I remember the first time I met you, and people need to understand this is a big guy, man. Saying so, it's not even really. I'm looking at this guy like this is an NFL linebacker. Talk about the difference in the NFL when you played versus kind of the way the game is now. It was way more physical when you played, man. Talk a little bit about it now, and what could you have done in this age? You were a big guy, but you're an athletic guy. I think you might have been before your time because you would have thrived in this NFL the way you played the game. So talk about that. Some of the differences.
I would have probably been fined a lot. Because I like playing the game very, very physical. And
Right.
that was a staple of my game. Played through injuries. I'm a blue collar type of dude to where I don't care if it's pain. I don't care. I played with a torn bicep for 2 months and couldn't even pick up a 20-pound dumbbell with my right arm. So at the end of the day, it's all about mental toughness and physical toughness. You got to be able to put yourself through pain mentally and physically. And I don't mind that. I'm all about playing the game fast, physical, and violent. And that's what most coaches want in the game of football. And that's just the way the game's supposed to be played. It was played within the rules. So for
Right.
me at the NFL level, it was all about hard work and just committing to everything that was in front of me, going to workouts. Then after that, I'm with Merriman, Phillips, and those guys going to LA Fitness and Poway for a second workout. Um, you can't be patient. I got to watch LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees. I watched their work ethic. I'm like, if these guys are playing at this level and they're the upper echelon of the NFL and they're doing these things, who am I? I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm a free agent. I got to do more, and that's what I did. And Marty Schottenheimer took me under his wing, and always would talk to me one on one about the things I was doing in practice. I was the type I was getting in fights every practice because our O line they wanted us to take some reps off and or slow down because the veterans. Hey, let's just get through practice, work day. Not me. I'm trying to make the team. So I would
Right.
go back and forth with those big 350-pound dudes and get in the fisticuffs with them and get kicked out of practice from Marty. But the second practice, I'm going early for special teams, and Marty will come over to me. I love it. Keep it up. But I got to kick you off the field in whole court here at all times. So I I had a lot of great coaches. I had a lot of motivating guys around me with teammates. So it was easy to play at a high level because the guys around me supported me, but more importantly, the coaches believed in me too.
And that's what's up, man. And speak to me about that coach's belief. What are some of the coaches outside of Marty Schottenheimer that we talked about before, but some of the other coaches, that you met along the way in high school, college, maybe even in your youth, that kind of instilled that mentality into you that you have right now and made you want to give back.
My youth coaches were probably the most beneficial coaches I've had. Why? It goes back to what you say, instilling the toughness in me. Where I'm from, that's what it's all about, being tough mentally and physically and doing whatever it takes in order to get by. From 8 years old, from 8 years old all the way to 14, from Mr. Elwood, Mr. Fernandez, Mr. K, Mr. Mullen, Coach Harrison in high school. Even my baseball coach, Mr. Frazier, he was the toughest coach I ever had in life. People were scared to play for him. But because playing for him, nothing in this world could ever break me. Nothing could break me because of what he did as a coach for us in baseball. And a lot of people don't give the baseball coaches credit, but him as a man teaching us as young pups, that's what really got me over mentally. Was like, do more, give everything you got, and whoever's in front of you, dominate them, break them in half if you have to, whatever it takes.
Yes. 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 I've had a lot of great coaches like that instilled that into me. It really kind of makes and shapes the coach that I am today. Learned a lot of great lessons that way as well. So before I let you go, I want to talk a little bit more about San Diego High School, what we can expect from San Diego High School, what's going to be the philosophy there. I understand you still are working on personnel. You still got kids coming in and that type of stuff, but what can we expect from San Diego High School this year under this new leadership?
Fast, physical, and disciplined football. That's our mantra: fast, physical, and discipline. Every single child will understand that. And the reason why they're gonna play fast is because we're gonna we're gonna trim the fat on the installs and what we gotta do, and then we'll build upon that throughout this offseason. The physical aspect of it, we've been in the weight room since January 3rd. Once they were done with Christmas, Get your butts in the weight room if you're not playing a winter or spring sport, and start building your body, because you got to build your body up because it's going to break down. And then the discipline side of it is just being there each and every day, having a notebook and pencil for every single meeting we have, asking questions on the practice field, and then just commit to the program. Be there every single day. And when you're not there, communicate on what you got to do in order for us to grow. But I know for a fact I got a 3-year quarterback in Jaden Harris, going to be a junior this year. Jaden Johnson, our running back, been playing at the varsity level since he's been in high school. Our linebacker, Xavier Wilson, one of the smartest football players I've ever been around that I got to coach. I've been coaching him since he was 4 years old, and he understands the game at a high rate, and he's a great leader. But you're going to see some big stuff because we got a transfer in Delonte Williams in from Mount Miguel. That's one of the best players in all of Southern California, if not California, and a big national recruit. And we have a plethora of other guys, and Paz and Nate, a lot of our linemen that do a great job in the weight room right now and building their bodies. So I promise you this year, San Diego's going to make a lot of noise. If you're playing against us, be ready for a physical game. But at the end of the day, we're going to shake hands and show our respect no matter win, lose, or draw. And our goal is to go get the CIF and compete for a state championship. That's our goal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love putting that goal out there in the atmosphere, making it known loud and proud, and then go get it, man. I love that. And I have no doubt, Coach, that you guys are going to really make positive steps towards achieving that goal. And you've always been a guy that I've admired from afar, watching you coach at all the different levels, watching your coaching career progress here in the city has just been a sight to see.
We don't chase. We create. They knock. They watch. We keep working. We keep building. We don't look up. Crowds form. We stay seated because the real ones find you. You don't gotta go nowhere. Just be true to self. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Now, for real, let's talk a little bit about the whole back phenomenon. I've had a lot of guys that came on the show and they basically swear by it. And I know back in the day, it was a little bit taboo, but speak a little bit about the whole back situation. What's your thought on that?
That whole reclassification stuff, I think that these parents need to understand in this day and age, if your child isn't physically ready, you better hold them back. And this is me telling you that because I went through this myself as a 17-year-old kid graduating. I went to the Naval Academy prep at 18 years old. Then I went to the University of Maine and redshirted. So I didn't get on the football field till I was 20 years old, pretty much. So you got to understand, when a 20-year-old's playing against a 17-year-old, it's a huge physical gap. Just like my son. My son is 18. Socially, people will talk, oh, he's old, he's driving a car. I don't care. The rules are the rules. So I held him back. You'll see this year what he looks like compared to possibly a freshman that's playing varsity, to where it's not going to be good for that individual. But you
Right.
have to take those advantages, and that's what I learned from Keefe and the OG Ducks, what to do in this football realm if you want to get your kid ahead of the rest. And holding them back is because of the physical aspect of it. And it's not even really about that. For me, it's the maturity of the mind. And then also, I'm in no rush for my kid to leave my house to go out in society right now. I want to make sure he's equipped with the proper tools to do what he needs to do and be responsible out there in this world. So any individual that's a parent right now, I would definitely look into the reclassification for these kids, because it's beneficial. And these kids aren't like us. We was running this. I was working when I was 13 years old. These kids
Right.
are coming from households that they're coming from apartments wearing Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all that stuff. I was wearing Payless. The game's
Right.
done changed. So please make sure your child is mature mentally, physically and taking care of their stuff academically before you move them on to go to high school, in my opinion.
The whole back situation, that's a big thing. I know when I was coaching and when my son was playing, it was kind of taboo. It was frowned upon. But now
Yes,
with
sir.
the way it works, and when you look at it, at the end of the day, you have to put your athlete in the best position. Now, if my kid could play the piano like Beethoven, I would put him in the best position, right, to win,
Yes, sir.
succeed. And I think football and athletics should be no different. We should make, if your kid was touched by God to be a great athlete, then you should embellish that in every way
Yes.
possible. So I 100% agree with that, and thanks for bringing that up too, Coach.
You don't just show up, you show out every damn day. This ain't your average energy boost. Young Star Energy Gummies give today's future athletes clean fuel with real results. No jitters, no crash, just straight up energy and faster bounce back. Clinically shown to support energy, muscle recovery, and cellular health. Young Star, stay lit, recover quick, and level up.
So I always like to do this before I let guys go on the show, or before I let you go, particularly guys that look like me, particularly guys that coach in this city. I like to speak life into guys, man. You are a king. I'm proud of you, brother, for what you're doing out here in San Diego. As far as a resource, if there's anything that I can ever do for you, it is a phone call away. And I implore you to really, really put me to the test and challenge me on that. I'm really about unity, particularly with Black coaches here in San Diego. I don't think that we show each other enough support, particularly because our community is so small. And I don't know what it is, but man, starting this podcast, it's been on my heart and my soul to really bring our community together in any way that I can. Even if we have to use football as the catalyst, then so be it, right? We as Black men need to understand our role out here, and we need to stick together. We can do it together. We can change things together. We can move mountains together. So again, if there's anything that I could do for you, brother, it's a phone call away, and I mean that. I dare you to put me to the test.
Hey, it's vice versa, brother, and I appreciate it. One thing I want to circle back on, coaches wise, um, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Trisby. He's one of the guys that took me under his wing when I was a youth coach at Balboa Raiders. Um, Keefe out there with the OG Ducks that you had on, I think your last episode. He doesn't really know me individually like that personally, but he's the one that kind of set the bar for me. I know you had a team with Josh that was competing versus him with Steel Canyon, but seeing what he did with the OG Ducks with my stepson, Jaden Wick, where I watched him at Madison. This is back in, I don't know when he first started. But when I seen the caliber of athletes he had and the physical build these kids had, I was like, what is going on? I got to give Keefe a shout out because he made me a better coach on what I wanted to do for the kids here in San Diego and put together a team that I put together to make it national. And it was chasing down the OG Ducks and or the Rampage with the Twins. But wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Trisby with the Balboa Raiders, and also want to give a shout out to Keefe for helping mold me as a youth coach and give me the ingredients on what I wanted to do with the group that I had. And it's all paying off for these kids. You see them all. I had Brandon Arrington on the team, Honor Falave, Parker Johnson, Zach Benitez, Jordan Roa, all the Oceanside kids. Like, our team was loaded, and all of them are at Division I schools, and it's not because of Coach Koo. It's because of their parents being supportive and doing everything that we asked as a coach. And those parents stayed out the way because they trusted in me and what I was doing, and they got their kids there every single day, and their kids are reaping the benefit from football with what their parents did. So understand that it's not these coaches doing it, it's you parents that are supporting your child and what they're doing if you want them to be successful.
Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show. Again, like I said, man, if there's anything else that I could do for you, it's a phone call away. You are listening to Tough Talk with Coach P. I have the great Stephen Cooper on the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
The Standard is a youth mentorship program empowering young men ages 8 to 14 through athletics, personal growth, and structured guidance. Built on the values of discipline, teamwork, and integrity, The Standard connects sports with life lessons to help participants develop confidence, leadership, and strong character on and off the field.
And welcome back to Tough Talk with Coach P. Listen, we had an amazing show today with an amazing coach, and more than that, an amazing man, amazing father, an amazing mentor, Coach Stephen Cooper of the San Diego High School Cavers. Now, San Diego High School has a very soft spot in my heart. It was where I got my first opportunity as a high school coach under the late, great Kier Kimbrough. May he rest in peace. God rest his soul. So, yes, San Diego High School has a very special place to me. So I'm wishing them all the success in the world. But after hearing him talk, he's a coach that definitely gets it. And the best thing about him, too, is he makes himself available for young coaches if they have questions. Listen, I implore you young coaches out there, and I was a young coach before too. I've been in the situations where I thought I knew everything as well, and people couldn't tell me anything either. But you live and you learn. When you know better, you show better. So that's what I'm doing right now. I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. So I'm out here getting my hands dirty every day. I'm working with the kids, but more importantly, I'm working with the coaches. Come on, join this coalition of great young coaches out there with us right now. We got plenty of room for you. You are listening to Tough Talk with Coach P. I, of course, am your man, Coach P. I'm out.
Gotta give it up for Coach. Big shout out to the coaches. Shout out all the coaches. You see, my coach, he believed in me since jump. I'm a product of his coaching. Gotta give it up for Coach. Big shout out to the coaches. Shout out all the coaches. Yeah. You see, my coach, he believed in me since jump. I'm a product of his coaching. Gotta give it up for Coach.